The 6th of February 1995. It was Piers Day. It was 4:30 p.m. A man entered the Suitcases guesthouse of Islamabad sector F72. He had 2 suitcases. He looked a little tired, as if he had traveled for many days. While checking in, he wrote his name as Ali Mohammed and told that he had come from Karachi. The receptionist checked him in at room No. 16 on the first floor and handed him the keys. The porter tried to pick up his bag, but he refused to pick it up. He picked up his luggage and went upstairs. The night passed quietly, but the next morning a storm came. At exactly 9:30 p.m., dozens of cars stopped outside the guest house. 10 to 12 people dressed in Pakistani and Amritsari attire entered the guest house. They came to the reception and asked where room No. 16 was. Then they all ran upstairs like a storm. They broke the door and entered the room and dragged Ali Mohammed out barefoot. His eyes were blindfolded, his hands were tied behind his back, and he was shouting, "Who are you? Where are you taking me? What is my fault? And do you have a warrant? Do you have a warrant?" In less than a minute, they took Ali Mohammed and his suitcases with them. Who was that man? And what was in his suitcases? We will tell you all this, but, before telling you the new thing, the same old complaint, 60% of you are watching our videos without subscribing to History Speaks. So hit the subscribe button. Let's first take a tour of New York, and then come back to Islamabad. In the 80s and 90s, young people had very strong feelings about New York. If someone wanted to go there and change his life, then the whole world. But there were some people who wanted to go there and change the world, but in a different way. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack. In a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts, you must be thinking that I will tell you the story of Osama bin Laden, but no. This story is of such a character who became an inspiration for Osama. We have told you the stories of great people on Rapatar, but believe us, the stories that we are going to tell you today have shaken us too. A trick that the whole world saw, but no one saw it. Some call him Al-Qaeda's first recruit. Some call him Saddam's agent. He was an electrical engineer, but people used to call him the Ghanist. Here people used to go to America for a visa, but he sacrificed a lot. But he went to America twice, that too without a visa. From Benazir to Bill Clinton, everyone was after him. He was a judge, a jury, and a criminal. He was born in Kuwait and got his education from the UK. He targeted America, but he was caught by Pakistan. He has been in prison for 30 years. But still he was so terrified that he was not allowed to meet or talk to anyone. He was so terrified that even the guards would not open the door of his cell. Let me introduce you to the father of terrorists, Abdul Basit Mahmoud Abdul Karim, the famous Ramzi Yousef. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my fitness. If you see me, don't trick me. Excuse me wrong if I do wrong. Ramzi Yousef was born in a Pakistani family. In Kuwait in 1968, he got his primary education there, and then he went to the UK to do engineering. He was a quiet but intelligent student. In other words, an evil genius, because some people think that he got a government scholarship to study in the UK by making fake documents. After becoming an engineer in 1990, Ramzi went to Afghanistan instead of looking for a job there, where he not only got training to make bombs, but also learned how to disguise, hide and escape surveillance. This was the time when Al-Qaeda's jihadi network had spread from Afghanistan to Sudan to thousands of Muslim youth. Now, the question is, when Ramzi had a bright future, why did he radicalize? The answer is simple. The same thing that forced thousands of other Arab youth to take up arms. That is, the presence of Israeli tyrants on the Palestinians and the presence of American troops in the Arabian Peninsula. In this fire of hatred and revenge, the famous Mahmoud Abdul Karim al-Maruf, Ramzi Yousef, planned a car attack on America. First of all, he started organizing his network in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and America. He started communicating with people, and when this step was completed, he flew to New York. This story is also very interesting. Ramzi Yousef had landed on the American soil for the first time. He had an Iraqi passport, but he did not have an American visa. The immigration officials took him to the site. He cried over Saddam Hussein's atrocities and Iraq's bad situation, and applied for political asylum. Immigration officials kept him with them for a while, took his fingerprints, and after several months, gave him a hearing date and sent him to America. What era was that? People settled in America without a visa. Now visa holders also go in with difficulty. He went straight from the airport to his relative Mossab, Yassin's flat. A few days later, Mossab's younger brother, Abdul Rahman, also came from Iraq. There was also a flat of another young man named Mohammed Salama in the neighborhood. Many young Arab boys used to live in these two flats. They used to pray together, eat together. There was such a close relationship that the apartments were connected to each other through intercom. For the next 2 months, Ramzi Yousef stayed in this group. And then he took another apartment in Jersey City with Mohammed Salama. Although Ramzi and the rest of the central characters were present at one place since September, but the real preparation began after the US elections on November 3rd. On November 9, Ramzi Yousef went to the Jersey City police station and reported that his passport was lost. He called himself a citizen of Pakistan and wrote his name in the report, Abdul Basit Mahmoud Abdul Karim. On December 31st, he went to the Pakistani consulate in New York. He had photocopies of Abdul Basit's old and new passport. He told the same story there, and also showed the report of the US police station. The consulate was a little suspicious because the documents were not authentic, but still, he issued a 6-month temporary passport and said that he should go back to Pakistan and get a new passport completely. 6 months were too much for Ramzi Yousef. 2 months were enough for him. In the middle of November, Ramzi started calling chemical companies. He also called the surgical supply companies to get documents, masks, and rubber nil. Meanwhile, he included 2 more people in his plan. One of them was Mohammed Salama's Palestinian friend Nadal Ayod. The other one was Mahmoud Abu Halima, an Egyptian taxi driver. Ramzi was leading the operation, but his gang's ideological training was being conducted by the Egyptian speaker, Umar Abdul Rahman. He was famous for his extremist views and provocative speeches. He used to emphasize the fight openly in his sermons. It is said that the original plan of this group was to target the Jewish population in Brooklyn. But later, the World Trade Center was decided to be a target. 21-year-old Ismail arrived. In America, his job was to drive a bombing truck. It was a job that anyone could do. But still, it is difficult to say why he was called to America for this purpose. On the morning of February 23rd, Mohammed Salama took a yellow food van from a company called Ryder. At 9 a.m., this gang gathered at a Shell petrol pump in Jersey City. They filled up the fuel tank so that the explosion could be carried out with full force. And then they left for downtown Manhattan. It was a cold afternoon in New York. Somewhere it was raining lightly and somewhere it was snowing. New York's heart was at its peak in the 110-story Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in Manhattan. About 50,000 people were present in their offices. They did not know that in the next few minutes they would face a big test at this time. A yellow food truck enters the basement of the North Tower. The truck's driver and 7 passengers park the truck near the maintenance office of the building and leave the tower. The American economy and the government of New York are enraged by the powerful explosion. The North Tower of the World Trade Center is engulfed in fire and smoke. Ambulances, firefighters, and NYPD personnel reach the basement of the building. Both buildings are evacuated. When the teams go inside, they see the scene and walk away. About 100 feet wide area blows their minds. 6 people were killed in the explosion. Monica Smith is one of the victims. More than 1,000 people were injured. In the explosion was so severe that the building was severely damaged from basement 1 to 5. When the investigation began, it was revealed that it was not a transformer explosion, but a terrorist attack. FBI agents found urea nitrate, nitroglycerin, aluminum powder particles, and hydrogen gas cylinders on the ground, so the ground came out under their feet. They guessed that it was a bomb weighing about 1,200 to 1,500 pounds, which was connected to a time delay fuse. The amount of material used in the explosion and the parking of the van revealed that the terrorists made such a blast that the entire North Tower fell on the South Tower, and the South Tower was also buried under the burden of the North Tower. This was a terrifying plan. If it had gone according to the plan, thousands of people could have lost their lives. This attack on the Twin Towers was the first attack on the American mainland after World War II. The first attack on the Twin Towers revealed the entire past of the CIA and FBI for the next 4 or 5 days of this incident, which took place on February 26th. The FBI agents kept shooting only at the Twin Towers. They could not find any clue other than the vehicle identification number of the car used in the explosion. You must be wondering, where did they get the money to make such a big bomb? So there is a surprise here too, because the Ramzi gang spent only $3,000 to make the World Trade Center bomb, and it was the lack of money that led to the arrest of the entire group. Mohammed Salama, Ramzi Yousef, and Ayad Ismail are in a car. Their destination is John F. Kennedy Airport. Salama dropped them at the airport from where Ramzi Yousef went to Pakistan and Ayad Ismail went to Jordan. Before the end of the day, both of them had left the American mainland. But here it happened with Salama. Ramzi bought the Royal Jordanian airline flight, 262 ticket on the 5th of March for the children, which cost only $65. Salama took the Holland visa with the help of this ticket, but he could not actually travel on this ticket. And to convert this ticket into adult fare, he needed more dollars, which he did not have. And then he did such a stupid thing that not only killed him, but also this entire gang. He went to the rental company to get his $400 safety deposit back. He was told that the van has been stolen, and since rental cars are insured, his safety deposit should be returned. The company's representative replied that before this, the police will have to inform the police. And he said that he will come the next day. The rider company's representative contacted the police, as per the regulations. When the company told the police the vehicle identification number of the truck, the police's antennae stood up. The police reported to the FBI, which laid a trap for agents around the company. The next day, Salama came to collect the money. When he came to collect the money, the company's representative made him sign a paper. And after the loss, he was given $200. As soon as Salama came out with the $200 envelope, the FBI bought him out. Salama had used the phone number of Ramzi's first friend, Musab Yazin, while renting the van. So, on the same day, the police raided all the places connected to Musab Yazin, and they also arrested his brother Abdul Rahman Yazin. All the arrested people began to speak like parrots in front of the FBI. In the next few days, the engineer who helped in the purchase and funding of the chemicals was caught in America. The Egyptian taxi driver, Mahmoud Abu Halima, who helped in the purchase and making of the chemicals, was also arrested in Egypt. Ahmad Ajaj, who was already arrested, was also investigated. It was found that he was the one who gave the recipe for making the bomb. Ayad Ismail, who fled with Ramzi, was also arrested in Jordan. But the one who was behind all this was a cheat for the Americans, because the passport on which Ramzi Yousef Hamal left for Pakistan was not real, but Fake's record was not even present with the Pakistani authorities. And since there were no machine-readable passports at that time, it was not so difficult to fool the immigration authorities. On April 21, 1993, the FBI released a list of 10 most wanted suspects. Ramzi's name was at the top of the list. 200,000 rewards was also given to those who helped in the arrest. The entire American state was looking for this one person, but there was no sign of him. On April 24, 1994, Ramzi's 4 colleagues were sentenced. The judge said that the accused used sodium cyanide in the bomb. His purpose was that when the bomb exploded, a poisonous gas, hydrogen cyanide, was generated, which would kill all the people in the tower. The judge clearly said that this was not just to make explosions, but to kill everyone. The accused had already been caught and he had already been punished. But the mastermind was sitting in Pakistan, in peace, looking for his next target. He also made a plan to target Prime Minister Nazir Bhutto, but due to the fear of being seen by strict security and Pakistani agencies, he did not move forward. Now this is also a very strange thing that the person who made the plan to target the building or the person, he was still there. Didn't you understand? You will understand by listening to his next plan. His next plan was to rule the world of terrorism, and for this plan, he took the support of his uncle Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Sounds familiar? Yes, the same Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who went ahead and not only made the entire plan of the 9/11 attack, but also got it executed. What a family. His next plan was not only dangerous, but also very dangerous. And the name of this plan was Bojinka Plan. The Serbian-speaking Slavs would be called Big Bang in English and Zordar Domika in Urdu. The Bosnian connection of Ramzi's plan is also revealed by the use of Serbian language. Bojin's plan was to wreak havoc on America. There were many layers to this plan, that is, to hijack 11 to 12 commercial aircraft from Asia to America in 1995 and destroy them with these explosions. United Airlines, Delta Airlines, and Northwest Airlines, their aircraft had to be targeted. During the flight at Beir al-Kahil, in each aircraft, an explosive device would be installed, which would explode during flight and kill thousands of passengers. According to one estimate, only in the first phase of the operation, 4,000 lives would be lost. For this purpose, Ramzi Yousef also prepared a new and small bomb related to the digital watch. This bomb was so small that it could be hidden in shoes or handbags. Ramzi Yousef successfully carried out the trial of this bomb on the 11th of December 1994 on the Philippine Airlines Flight 434, where he placed a small bomb under the seat. This bomb exploded during the flight to Tokyo, killing 1 passenger and injuring 10 others. But the plane survived due to the landslide. The next stages of the plan were also not less dangerous. Ramzi also planned to kill President Bill Clinton and Pope John Paul II during the Philippine tour, while the Pentagon and the CIA headquarters were part of the plan to crash the plane. All these stages were to be carried out between the 15th to the 22nd of January 1995. Ramzi Yousef and his partner, Abdul Hakim Murad, set up a base camp in Manila for the operation. Everything was going well, but just a few days before the operation, that is between the 6th and the 7th of January, the chemical bomb exploded during the preparation of this bomb. The Philippine police thought it was an accident and reached the scene. There was a different story. Ramzi escaped immediately, but his partner Hakim Murad was caught. Ramzi's laptop and the entire blueprint of the Bojinka plan were confiscated by the police. The police also found such a doll along with the chemicals to make the bomb, in which the bomb had already been planted, and it had to be kept in a target flight. The police also seized the flight schedule, details of the explosion, and the fake passport. We were able to relate all these pieces of evidence together, and it turned out that it was the signature of Ramzi Yousef. Today, if you have to pass through the airports where you have to search for matted detectors and X-ray machines, or you have to remove your shoes and belt, then all these are the miracles of Ramzi Yousef's Bojinka plan. After the Bojinka plan, restrictions were imposed on the hand-carrying of liquids and jans. The security agencies of Western countries were confused by this plan because they had never thought that a political or religious extremist could carry out terrorism in an organized international community. In fact, Ramzi and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, or KSM, had already planned to disrupt the international system through the Bojinka plan. Or you can say that the Bojinka plan was actually the initial version of 9/11, whose purpose was to shock the international economy and make the whole world unrestricted. The Pope or the President of the United States, if the attack on Bill Clinton was successful, the entire international politics would be subject to unrest. There would be chaos in the world. The United States, the Middle East, or Afghanistan would have military intervention, which would increase hatred against the United States. And groups like Al-Qaeda would get the opportunity to recruit young people. But anyway, this is not our topic. We are talking about Ramzi Yousef. Anyway, after fleeing the Philippines, Ramzi once again came to Pakistan. I don't know why all these terrorists come to Pakistan. He first reached Karachi on a fake passport and then to the Sakasa guesthouse in Islamabad. The diplomatic security officer who arrested Ramzi, Jeff Reiner, says that he had received information that Ramzi was planning to flee from Iran or Afghanistan. He suspects that he might leave early in the morning. So, to keep an eye on Ramzi, he placed his man at a barber shop in front of the guest house. When the American team reached there, he told them that Ramzi was inside, but still, he was told to go inside the guest house and check again. And it was told that if Ramzi was inside, then he should leave and take off his cap and wear it again. That man entered the guest house at around 9 o'clock and came out after staying inside for 15 minutes. The American team's eyes were fixed on his cap. Ramzi was immediately taken to New York by American troops. Ramzi was taken to New York by American troops. Ramzi was not wasted even for a moment in the investigation. During the flight, FBI agents were attacked at the World Trade Center, and he had received information on the details. He named all his gang members as jihadists against American policies. Ramzi Yousef was taken to New York. On February 8, 1995, Ramzi was decided to take the detention center by a helicopter from the airport. When the helicopter passed near the Twin Towers, the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force director spoke to Ramzi Yousef. At that time, Ramzi Yousef's eyes were blindfolded. The agent removed his blindfold and said, "Look, Ramzi, the Twin Towers are still standing." On which Ramzi Yousef replied fearlessly, "If I had more money, they wouldn't be standing today. Wait, wait, wait. Let me tell you a fun fact. This scene was shown in the film Part 2, Paradise, which was made many years before 9/11, in which Ramzi says, 'Next time, we'll bring them both down.' This film, which was made in 1997, was seen on VHS in 1998, and when the Twin Towers really fell on September 11th, everyone who saw this film was shivering. In New York, Ramzi was kept in a very secure Metropolitan Correctional Center. A bomb blast took place at the World Trade Center against Ramzi Yousef. A bomb blast took place at the Philippine Airlines Flight 434, and the case of the Bojinka Plot went on. During the hearing, Ramzi Yousef told the US support for Israel and the reason for this jihad in the Middle East. Almost 11 months after the arrest, he was sentenced to 240 years in prison without parole. In his final argument in the case, the judge said, "Ramzi's actions are terrorism in the name of religion, and they are not at all consistent with any religious principle or concept of jihad." The judge addressed Ramzi and said, "You call yourself a mujahid, but you yourself did not care about Islam or Muslims. You have become a worshipper of evil." After the punishment, Ramzi Yousef was taken to a very strict security jail in Colorado. This jail is famous in the name of Supermax. It is a place of dangerous terrorists and criminals, where the prisoners are kept alone for 23 hours a day. No one is allowed to meet Ramzi Yousef here. This operation was carried out on February 7th. It was the first incident of arresting and imprisonment of wanted people from Pakistan to the United States. The first incident, not the last, because in the era of almost every ruler after this, the wanted people from Pakistan were caught and handed over to the United States. In return, they would have never been rewarded if they had been given a bounty. This matter has not stopped even today. The arrest of Pakistani residents on Pakistani territory, it was the beginning of a new era of security. Cooperation between Pakistan and the United States. In the arrest of Ramzi, irrespective of any backlash, we believe we are on the high moral ground because we have acted according to Pakistan's own internal laws and according to international laws. And so long as the people's government is in power, Pakistan will continue to abide by international laws and its own laws. Remember, after the end of the Afghan jihad, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the collapse of the Soviet Union, Pakistan had become a dead weight for the United States. All of America's work had left Pakistan, and now it was subject to US sanctions due to the atomic program. The relationship between Washington and Islamabad had frozen due to the Presley program. Ramzi Yousef's help in his arrest was a chance for the PNZ government and its current establishment to melt the ice. Pakistan wanted to become a partner in this terrorist attack and get rid of the Presley program. These were the sanctions imposed by the Presley program due to which Lockheed Martin Company was unable to deliver the F-16s to Pakistan despite a $600 million advance payment. Pakistan hoped that Ramzi Yousef's arrest would benefit Pakistan in some way, but this was the foolishness of the Pakistanis. The failure was not only of Pakistan, the biggest failure was of the American intelligence and security network. Even today, the question is raised that why was the very dangerous and deadly Nabina Misray Khatib not kept an eye on the people who met Omar Abdul Rehman? If she was kept an eye on, how did Ramzi's group get organized in New York? How did this group succeed in such dangerous chemical principles and the FBI did not even get wind? Why was Salama Muhammad's contact with Iraqi intelligence ignored? Why was Ahmad Ajaj, an expert in making bombs, released from John F. Kennedy Airport? But the biggest question is, what was Bojon's plan?